This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com. Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Wednesday, October 27, 2010, and this is episode 791 of Walt Disney World Today. I am Mike Newell, your host from MouseRollRadio.com. Joining us on tonight's show are the only dedicated lads left in the world. Fast Freddy Z, Fred Hazelton of TouringPlans.com. Welcome aboard, Fred.
Hey, Mike, thanks. It's great to have you driving the bus tonight.
You know,
should be fun. This
is an interesting bus. Matt leaves it a mess, but I like to come in and clean out house every now and then. So,
yeah, you kind of remind me of Otto from The Simpsons.
Without the hat.
That's right.
Also joining us is the other half of TouringPlans.com, Len Testa, another dedicated soul. Thanks for joining us tonight, Len.
You know, it's really the point in the season where you dig down deep and you really find out, what you're made of.
It's true. That is a very deep and profound sentiment, I think.
Just be careful what you find.
Yes.
Exactly right.
Don't go digging too deep.
Well, it's Wednesday, and we are answering your listener questions without the rest of the guys, because I don't know where they're all off. They're all probably having fun, and, someone's got to run the show. So let's get right down to it. And in the traditional Newell style, if you wrote in a question today, it's getting answered today. How about that? We're going backwards, unlike the other guy. Let's start off with Jerry from Georgetown, Texas, who writes, I will be in the world in June 2011 and using the dining plan. I will only have 3 days of credits, but will be in Central Florida for an additional 5 days. My question is, if I do not use all of my 3 days worth of credits in the first 3 days, how long are the credits active? I will have park tickets for the entire length of my stay, but will only be on property for the first 3 days. Thanks for your help.
The credits expire at midnight on the day you check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So just the 3 days, right?
Just the 3 days, right?
Yeah.
And, as someone who doesn't use the dining plan, I never knew that.
You have to try it. I actually got the dining plan for my trip coming up in December.
Oh, cool.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I really did. It was free dining, so what the heck?
Well, I was just saying that, we tried it last September, just like you, Len, just to check it out. And it was interesting. But it's a good tip about, they don't expire. So after you check out, like you said, Len, it's still good till the midnight of that day that you check out. So you could be hotel hopping or going off-site or something, and you could still plan a meal that night using your credits.
Even though you physically left the hotel, you could still...
Right.
Yeah, you could check out. Yeah, it's good till... Yeah, so if you're if it's on the last day of your trip and you still have... meal credits, you're still good.
Awesome. Next question is from Laurel. I don't think this is Len's running buddy, Laurel. This is a different Laurel, but no last name. We have an extremely late arrival flight going to Epcot the next morning. I'm hoping to let the young kiddos sleep in a bit. Can me or my husband go to the park alone and get fast passes for Soarin' for the entire group?
No, you can't. You have to. Each ticket has to go through the turnstiles and be activated in order to get the fast pass. Wow. I know I've tried that before, and it doesn't work. It'll give you, like, if you put in a pass that hasn't been activated at the turnstile, it will print out a ticket telling you that this ticket has not been activated for today or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
What if they were APs, Fred? Would that work? Like if my entire family has APs and I did that, would that work?
No, it doesn't work. I've tried it with my own AP.
Wow, okay. So
the only thing you could do, no, you can't. You'd have to go in the turnstile, go back out, go back in with the other ticket.
Yeah, that's
come back
crazy.
out, go back
Yeah.
out. And you can't really do that because the tickets aren't transferable.
Well, if it's all the same family and you bought it, supposedly all the family tickets are linked. But I don't know that. I guess you could try it, right? The only thing you'd lose is time, right?
Yeah, you might as well wake the kids up and bring them in.
Well, you could if all the I really don't think it'll work.
No, it won't work. No, it won't work. It's a good idea though.
Yeah, it is. Actually, it is, because then I would go in, have the family meet me later, and I'll have fast passes for everybody.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could do that.
Yeah.
So the only thing you could do would be, I mean, you'd have to wait the 2-hour interval and then get your second fast pass on using the same ticket. You could do that, but it's a waste of time.
Next question is from Joe from Lincoln, Nebraska. Hi, everybody.
Oh, area code 402.
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
What's with you with the area codes, Len, the last few days?
I don't know. It was just well, you know how I know the area code 402, right? Did I tell you the story?
No. I'm afraid
This is
that
nothing to do with
Geraldine
Disney.
called or something?
an old girlfriend.
When I was buying my tickets through a middleman for the Super Bowl, there was this convoluted process where I had to call a series of phone numbers, and they told me to move around to different places. So I guess that wasn't being monitored. And one of them was one of the area codes was 402, and because I had some time, I looked it up, and it was Nebraska. And ever since then, I've always remembered it's. Anyway, go ahead.
Google is your friend when it comes to area codes.
Google is your friend. Google is your friend.
Joe writes, hi, everybody. We're going to Disney World in February 26, 2011 for 8 days. We are staying at the Beach Club for the very first time. I'm wondering what the best way to get to the Magic Kingdom is. We will be relying on Disney transportation. Is the boat or a bus our only option? I understand the monorail goes through there, but we would have to walk clear through Epcot first. Thanks very much for your help.
Take the bus.
Now, wasn't there a discrepancy in the bus system or the bus doesn't go to Epcot from?
No, the bus
Beach Club?
does. Yeah, the buses don't go to Epcot, and I don't think do the buses go to the studios. I think they do go to the studios.
Yeah, from Beach Club they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't go to, but they don't go to Epcot. Yeah, from the Beach Club or Yacht Club.
Which makes sense because you're basically
It's
in
right there.
Epcot's
I mean,
backyard, right?
Yeah. Just,
Although if you wanted to go to the front of the park, it is still a walk. But I guess what they're saying is it's such a you're going to be walking anyway so much that that the extra couple hundred yards, or actually it's half a mile. It's more like 3/4 of a mile. Doesn't matter. It's funny. One of our listeners sent me an email last week that he had brought a GPS with him into the parks, and through the course of an entire day, from the time he left his room at Pop Century until the time he came back, he spent one day at the Magic Kingdom, a full day. Guess how far he walked?
8 miles.
16 miles.
More.
22 miles.
20 miles.
Wow.
20.
Wow, that's amazing.
Something miles.
Yeah, remember, Len, we used to do that back when we were using tracking GPS for our wait time loops, and I did exactly that. Although I didn't start counting until I actually entered the park.
Yeah,
and,
so imagine.
Yeah, it was something like 16 miles. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot.
My calves knew it, but I couldn't believe it was that far. That's a lot. That's a lot of walking. That's why we say, like, this is not the kind of vacation you can just kind of hang back and wait till it comes. You might want, be best to go for walks, about 6 weeks leading up to it.
Exactly.
Get used to it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've noticed that since I'm running, the pounding our legs used to take when we walked around the park is equivalent to like a 7 or 8 mile run.
Sure.
I'm about as sore after I do either of those.
Next question is from Jennifer Tanko of somewhere. She doesn't say, but that's okay. Hey, Jennifer. Thanks for writing in. My mom and I are going to Walt Disney World in January for our birthday week. Haven't been to the world in about 5 years. I'm curious about your take on two things. Primarily, I think it'd be really cool if you did a podcast about young adults at Walt Disney World. I'm 23, and since I haven't been to the world since high school, I'm looking forward to experiencing the parks from a more adult perspective, but I find that a lot of the resources that are geared to adults at Walt Disney World is intended for the 35 and up crowd. Seeing that Hochberg's the only kid on the show, I guess we're not that resource, but I would suggest listening to the guys over at Betamax because they're much younger than us.
Those young pups.
Yeah,
they're kids. They're crazy kids.
Their take on Disney is going to be a little different than us olders.
That's a good point. We've got. I mean, obviously the kids' point of view is covered, and the adults with kids is covered, but the single, sort of like older
it's been
adults.
A while since
we've
all been young and single in Walt Disney World.
Yeah, sad to say.
Those were the days.
Man,
I remember when there were only 2 parks. Oh, this is the wrong show. Sorry, go ahead.
More importantly is the matter of my birthday. I have reservations at BOMA, and there will be extra magic hours that night in Epcot. My intention that night is to conquer the world, party style, and then I'm going to have a drink at every country and world showcase. I know
Holy cow.
Yeah, I know others who have accomplished this noble task, and I have read a bit about it on other sites, but I was wondering if any of you folks...
Wait. The other people include Charlie Sheen and the sites that they read it on are TMC.com. Go ahead.
Yes. And Charlie Sheen in a hotel room, trashing it up.
Thank you, Neil, for getting that.
I was wondering if any of you folks had drank around the world, and if so, what was your experience? And do you have any advice?
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, especially if you're going to go.
Well, as long as you're a young adult, you can do it. Don't do it when you're 35, like I was.
Oh my God,
it's crazy. It's a lot. You have to pace
yourself. What were you drinking?
Oh God, we mostly beer, but then we wanted to do something that was themed for each country. So we had sake and we had wine in Italy, and I mean, by the time we started in Canada, and by the time we got to Mexico, it was pretty. And then after that, we walked over to the studios. I don't know why.
Did you really?
Yeah, this is with Henry last. When was this?
Oh my God!
Was that last reunion?
Where were you staying?
Was that reunion? I think I ran into you guys during reunion when you were doing
reunion,
that.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it was crazy.
I noticed the details.
And then we took over. We took over Great Movie Ride, and we were just totally hassling the driver, and it was great.
That's awesome. I did it once. I went the opposite way. Started in Mexico, and I think I've told this story on the show before. The last thing I remember is ordering sushi in Japan. Then I woke up at the beach club with a bill for more than $200 worth of sushi.
Yeah.
and new friends that you had for life.
Apparently so, yeah. And this strange tattoo. It's very weird. Anyway.
Well, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Next question is from Michael Berglund, and I don't see where he's from. Oh, Mike from Minneapolis. Hey, Mike.
Oh, Minneapolis.
I was going to say Skagway. Darn it.
Skagway.
I'm actually wearing my Skagway shirt as we speak.
Hey, nice.
Mike from Minneapolis here. Atomic Mickey on the boards. Hoorah. We're having a big family gathering in February 2011 in Walt Disney World. There will be 13 of us there. We'll be staying at the Polynesian Concierge. Nice. Anyway, we will not have a car, and 2 of our evenings I have us planned to go to far-flung places. The question is how to get there and back and how much it'll cost. One night we need to get over to Port Orleans Riverside for Yeehaw Bob. We'll be at the Animal Kingdom that day and possibly bus back to the Poly to get ready for that night. So I'm thinking that we're taking a cab. How much should we pay for this trip to Port Orleans Riverside and later back again? How long does it take to get a cab in Walt Disney World? Should I make arrangements ahead of time since there are 13 people?
I would definitely make reservations ahead of time. Mears Transportation online runs runs all of the taxis in Orlando. So Google Mears Transportation Orlando, and one of the interesting things is they actually have a fare calculator or a fare estimator, where you can pick any 2 points in Orlando. Most of the Disney stuff is covered, and it'll tell you the approximate fare. I don't think it'd be more than $15 each way, but you probably got two cabs worth. Well, how many? 13 people. You probably got 3 cabs.
It's probably 3.
Yeah.
Oh, they could bring a van if they get 2 vans.
Yeah, but if the van is specialist, I wonder if that's more. I don't know. It might be cheaper than three taxis.
It would be.
Yeah, call and ask. Yeah.
You can also. I mean, it's not hard to get cabs. I mean, you could easily, as long as you plan a little bit ahead. Like maybe when you first walk into the hotel or when you leave that morning, you could just say to the concierge, "Look, could you book us a cab for whatever time for this number of people?" And they should be able to do it for you.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, if you could pay for concierge service, you might as well make use of it.
Absolutely.
I mean, the front desk will do it too, as will the bellman. The bellman will do it too.
Yeah, anybody. I'm thinking when you walk in there to that where the bell is there, just tell them.
Just say, hey, tonight I need. Yeah. I was wandering over there earlier in the month, and there are always a couple of taxis lined up, but just in case somebody takes them ahead of you, go ahead and plan ahead.
Second, we'll be over at Hoop-de-Doo. I know that after the show, we could take the boat over to the Magic Kingdom landing, then either the monorail or boat back to the Poly. I'm thinking of my parents, as we'll be there in February. It might be pretty chilly. I have taken a cold boat ride from the lagoon before, so again, wondering how to get a cab from Fort Wilderness and how much would it be to get back to the Poly after Hoop-de-Doo.
That's trickier.
Yeah, it's a short cab ride, but you're gonna have to take the bus at Fort Wilderness, right? Because the cab won't.
But even then, I mean, because it's a campground, there aren't many cabs there. You may actually have to
call a cab there.
To call a cab there, right?
That could take a while, and it would be a bit of a waste of time to take the boat from the Poly to the Magic Kingdom, and that's.
But doesn't the boat stop off at Contemporary?
After going to the Magic Kingdom, though.
No, only in the morning it does. In the morning, it's the boat stops off, goes from Fort Wilderness to the Contemporary to pick up people. Then it goes to the Magic Kingdom. But I think it doesn't do it at night because no one's going to the Magic Kingdom at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would say call ahead for a cab too. And I think the number's like 444-44444 or something like that.
Something crazy.
It's like 407-444-444, whatever.
Just keep dialing 4 until somebody picks up.
Exactly. And just tell me you need a cab.
Hello, stop pressing 4, please. The next question is from Brant Swayze, pronounced like Patrick, and nobody puts baby in the corner, he writes.
That's beautiful.
Hi all, love the show. With the headliner of the Fantasyland expansion being a dark ride based completely around the story of The Little Mermaid, what do you think the fate holds for the show at Disney's Hollywood Studios? Does it make sense to have 2 attractions that are telling the exact same story down the street from one another? Nemo has 2 attractions, but one tells a story of a movie, whereas in The Seas, it's a separate storyline. Toy Story has 2 shoot-'em-ups, but I believe the storylines on those are 2 different, that there is no overlap problem. Do you think Voyage of the Little Mermaid is on his way out?
Wow, that's an interesting question.
That's a good question. I'd be surprised if it'd be on its way out. It's a very popular show. It's been there a while. I mean, the ride, is it really going to be based that much directly on sort of, the performance of a show? I think it might be different, kind of different things.
They're different mediums, right? So a ride is more like a TV show, whereas the ride's gonna be more like a 2D presentation, right? Like a television show. Whereas the musical is more like theater.
Mm.
And typically, I think because they're in different parks, that kind of automatically keeps them separate. I don't think Disney would see them as overlapping because they're in different parks. There's lots of other Disney movies that have representation in different parks, even though the stories are similar. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good point though.
Next email is from Daniel Cisneros. I'm sorry.
Dan Cisneros.
You know him?
I had a really nice conversation with him. Yeah, Dan's actually well known in certain communities.
Oh, more importantly, did I pronounce his last name right?
You did.
Wow.
Hey Dan.
Take that, Matt. Love to hear all of you give thoughts on the worst attractions or shows or dining choices, etc., ever to exist in Walt Disney World or any Disney park. I'm sure Stitch's Great Escape and Stitch's Supersonic Celebration, or whatever it was called, will be mentioned. But what other things were or are the worst ideas ever to come out of an Imagineer's head?
Yeah, those two are really
they're up there.
those, I mean, especially Stitch's Supersonic Celebration deserves a special mention, right? That's like
that's honorable mention.
That was
dishonorable mention.
Yeah, that was the Ishtar of theme park rides, if there ever was one.
Wow.
What else
interesting. The 2 of them are Stitch based.
Yeah, Stitch isn't a good character for theme parks. What else has been bad? The second the remake of Journey into Imagination, the second one.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Bad.
That one. I vaguely remembered at this point because it was so bad. That was really bad. The original refurbishment of Journey into Imagination was bad. What else was bad?
I'm trying to think of some dining. I'm trying to think of some restaurants or dining options that were short-lived.
The Noodle Station started off strong, but then fell off pretty quickly right there. If that dies, that would be okay. What else? Dining. What dining is closed? Offsite. There's been a bunch of stuff offsite that's just been terrible, but and the one place actually that's really not great that never closes is Captain Jack's at Downtown Disney.
Yeah, that's always
it always gets low ratings, and it's still there. Yeah. I think they just can't come up with. They must need a seafood place there that's like a sort of like a moderate, something to deal with Fulton's. I don't know. No, can you think of any dining places that?
Not that's been so bad that I won't go back, and that's what I'm trying to gear at. What was so terrible that I just refuse to go back?
What about Yak and Yeti? Oh, that doesn't get a lot of
I actually like
positive comments, but it's not too bad.
I went once. I'd go back again if I wanted that kind of food. It wasn't wasn't terrible. I can't think of anything in the Magic Kingdom that was bad. This is a good question for our listeners. If you guys can think of anything, post it in the show notes.
Yeah, something that was really, really bad, and that can go for attraction, dining, anything. Next question is from Barry Labs of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Greetings, Walt Disney World Today crew. I have a serious question for you. I thought all our questions were serious. I didn't think anyone would.
What? Huh?
Yeah. But we'll handle it with care. My wife and I will be traveling to Disney World in February with our 5-year-old daughter and parents for our yearly trip. Due to trying to find the best airfare, we'll probably be going down on a Wednesday through Saturday. Due to that, we'll be arriving 2 days before my parents arrive, so the wife and I are thinking we might head over to the Bastion of Evil, Universal Studios, so we can see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. This creates two dilemmas for us. First off, I've always sworn that I'd never set foot in Universal Studios because I'm a Disney World fanatic. Second, my parents have told us that if we did go, it would put my future inheritance of the DVC membership in serious jeopardy. So my question is it worth it to go to Universal Studios?
I mean, there's only one course of action here.
Which is?
What is that?
Lie to your parents? What? Am I the only one that came up with this idea?
You know, it's funny.
We would just say you went to the beach.
I mean, yeah, do what your parents want. That's totally what I was going for there.
It's definitely not worth an inheritance. Let's say that.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, you don't want your brother to get the tungsten mine. Yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical.
I mean, Universal is. I like Universal. I think it does a great job at some things. It's definitely different from Disney, and it doesn't have the same amount of detail in the attractions. But if in terms of the thrill, in terms of the entertainment value, the stuff at Universal is certainly at par with what you get at Disney. I think it's definitely worth it.
And how would you rate the Harry Potter stuff if you had to risk your inheritance for it?
I would never risk my inheritance, although I'm not getting that much, so maybe I would. I don't know. I think Harry Potter's great. Yeah, it's like I say, in terms of the thrill, in terms of the technology used in the attraction, it's a must see. Like, it's really, really cool. And I think like Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure is probably the best attraction in Central Florida. Certainly the best one I've ever seen. So for those two reasons alone, it's certainly worth it.
Next question is from Kerry in Missouri. I'm not going to even pronounce her last name. I'm just going to... Hey, guys, and the Fabu Annette. This is Kerry from Missouri. Thanks for spending a whole show on my last question about people who go to Disney less than yearly. It was wonderful. Okay, so we're planning on going in October 2011. Here's my dilemma. We don't celebrate Halloween, but we do want to be in the Magic Kingdom late at night on our extra magic hours. It seems this year that Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party has been haphazard in the way it was scheduled. Obviously, we don't want to be at the Magic Kingdom on the Not So Scary nights, but are there any extra magic hour evenings that are not so scary?
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, there has to be. I think she's confusing the extra magic hour evenings with the parties. I mean, the parties are the separate ticketed events, right? So it's not really an extra magic hour. But she's asking, are there days where there's no party and the Magic Kingdom's open later?
That's what she's asking. That's what it seems like she's asking.
Okay.
And keep in mind that the park's going to be decked out for Halloween regardless. So you're going to see, pumpkins and all that jazz.
I think I took a quick look here. I can't see any day where there's an extra magic hour evening.
Yeah, maybe they just stopped doing it.
Maybe they don't do it during the parties.
Yeah.
Maybe they get it so that you kind of have to buy the party if you want to stay late.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Also, what are the crowds like in early October versus May when we usually go? These may be Len questions, so Van Halen rocks.
Fred actually was better with the crowds.
Mike, you want to take a crack?
No.
Go around the table. Early October versus May. I got to give the edge to early October. Crowds will be a little bit less, although this year we've seen October crowds have been higher than we expected. I think even higher than Disney expected, because of the way they're adjusting some of their hours. But early October is usually a great time to go. Once you get more towards around this time of year that we're in now, so like mid to late October, a little bit busier, but early October should be fine.
And Food and Wine is the same time of year, so
yeah,
that may have some effect.
Yeah. With May, I mean, if you're choosing to go in May, just be aware of things like grad nights. Take a look at like where Easter falls. I can't think offhand where Easter falls in 2012, I guess, but it depends sort of how many weeks removed you are from Easter as well can affect the crowds in May.
Next question is from Greg Monroe from Lexington, Kentucky. I love listening to the show. I catch up on your shows on my days off. My question is that my wife and I have 4-day park hopper tickets left over from our previous trip. We will be traveling to Disney in April 2011 for 6 days. We will need to purchase 6-day park hopper tickets for our two boys, ages 8 and 4. Usually use Undercover Tourist to purchase any tickets over 4 days in length. What is the best way to purchase tickets? So we just have the room keys on our park tickets. I might be...
from Disney then.
Yeah, the only way you can do that is buying them from Disney. Like you can't walk in with your park hopper purchased from Undercover Tourist and then have them add it to your room key, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
They'll make you keep it.
Even if you had an old park hopper, even if you before they did the key thing?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, maybe if you went to guest services or like when you checked in, you said, I've got this. Well, he said he's got 4-day park hoppers and he needs to get 6 days. I don't know if he means 6 days additional to make 10 total, or if they just mean upgrade it to a 6-day pass. If you upgrade it to a 6-day pass, then you could cash in your 4-day park hopper
and add the 2 days
and have them add the 2, and then it would go onto your room key.
Right. Okay. It's time for our last question, believe it or not. Can you believe that? It's amazing how fast this goes.
It's flying by.
What we're going to do is I'm going to pick 3 questions like I usually do, and I'm going to let the luscious Len pick one of the questions.
Nice. Luscious.
That's how it's on my phone. I had specific instructions that on my phone.
What's the big deal?
I don't see a big deal.
Exactly. Thank you.
When he first gave me his number, he says, the only thing is you have to tag me as Luscious Len. So there it is.
And he did it.
So Len, we got 3 questions for you.
Okay, good.
I'm going to pick the first one,
on this.
And the other 2 will go back into the pool for Matt to send to me next week. Actually, no. Yeah, the other 2 questions probably won't get answered for another year, so pick wisely, Len.
Wow, that's important.
We have 2. The first one is Pop Century question for the pros, nighttime rides, and eating at Epcot.
Pop Century question for the Wow, these are hard. Pop Century question for the pros. What was the second one?
Nighttime rides.
Nighttime rides.
Or eating
I'm
at
intrigued
Epcot.
by that. Or?
Eating at Epcot.
I think we've covered nighttime rides recently. Eating at Epcot is one of our favorite subjects. I'm going to go with the first one. I'm going to go with the Pop Century question.
Oh, you threw me off. I clicked on eating at Epcot. Sorry, Stephanie. We'll have to see. We'll get to your question in 9 or 10 months. This is from George from New York City. What's up, George?
Yo.
Georgie.
My girlfriend and I are headed to Walt Disney World November 18th to the 22nd, 2010. Wow, we're just getting into it just in time.
Wow.
Nice
Good call, Len. You saved your vacation.
We are staying at the Pop Century Resort. Now, we've been to Walt Disney World before and stayed at the Caribbean Beach and loved it. This time we decided to go for Pop Century to save some money and requested a king bed and are not renting a car. Where would you Disney elders recommend 2 mid-20-something kids staying within the Pop Century? We'd like a quiet room that's also close to the Classics Hall and also has the high chance of being a renovated room since parking is not an issue. I'm not sure if these circles cross the Venn diagram of fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's...
but I figure I'd give it a shot. Can you even request...
So close implies 50s, 60s, 70s. Yeah, not 90s or 80s, right?
Not 90s or 80s.
The problem with that is that they generally don't get quiet in the rooms close to the Classic Hall, obviously because of all the foot traffic, right? You could do... Man, I wish I would have walked the Pop Century like I did the All-Star Resorts. I would have known better.
At 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, right.
With a bottle of wine?
You could say the south end of the 70s buildings, which are... the problem with that, though... The problem with the 70s buildings is they're either water-facing or they face an interior courtyard. And that's not going to be quiet.
What about, I'm thinking that, like, if you walk straight out from the Classic Hall there, like, I guess it's the 50s, something that's, I think you want something that's facing away from the pool, for sure, in terms of quietness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking in the 70s, because it doesn't even have a pool.
Well, yeah. Assuming they don't mind, forking out the extra money for the premier rooms, which if they're used to moderates, they probably don't, so.
Yeah, it's $10.
I think anything that faces anything that's in the 70s or that's in the 60s and 50s that faces away from the pool, it's probably not going to be that bad in terms of noise.
You could do. You could get something in the 60s in a room that faces east like in the 4,100
Yeah.
to 4,400.
Yeah.
In that long arm that kind of extends towards the 50s, that points north. You could do that.
Yeah, that would work. The whole thing could be moot though, because I mean, if they're getting a king room, it's only a small percentage of the rooms, right? Because we're talking about
Yeah,
just
it's true.
the,
Yeah.
So it's going to be tough getting your choice.
Yeah, I would say. So I would say, ask for a quiet room not near a pool with a king bed and see what you get.
Yeah.
My guess is you're going to be. I wonder if they have them in. See, the 80s is just far.
It's too. I mean,
80s and 90s are too far. Hey, why is it that the 50s, 60s, and 70s get their own decade? They get their own set of rooms, and then the 80s and 90s have to share buildings.
it's the curse of the Gen X,
That's what it is.
Generation X and Y.
It's like when your parents
We
just
have no
give up on
identity.
Exactly. That's it.
That just means whoever designed it was a 70s baby.
You're just done. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, send us questions, you can visit us at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Matt Hochberg, and the lovely Fred Hazelton, I am Mike, and we'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio. This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and MouseFan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and MouseFan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.